went over to St. Louis 2 weekends ago, and pretty proud of the way the team traveled, being young, and dealt with some weather in the first contest against Maryville. And we were fortunate enough to get a win in a 6-degree game with rain and snow and freezingness. And then we didn't play very well on Saturday. We turned around and just kind of went through the motions, lacked a little bit of on-field leadership, lacked some hustle and heart and determination. And, I think it was probably the best thing that could have happened to us. The 2 weeks previous to that, we scrimmaged over at DU, and we did very well against DU, and then also played well against Colorado College and Colorado State. And I think our guys had an inflated opinion of who we really were. And to kind of have that bubble popped by a team that's still winning games in Lindenwood and posting a solid record thus far this season, 3-0 right now, it's not seeming to be that big of a detriment of a loss as far as the grand scheme of things in the national conversation. You always hate to lose games, but if you are going to lose them, you want to lose them early, so that way we can be the best team later on in the season. So just kind of lacked some fire and some energy and some effort in those first two contests. And we were excited to get on the road this past weekend to play Rockhurst, who's a team that always plays us tough. And Coach Kelly's a really great guy over there, but unfortunately the weather didn't really cooperate with us. And I think it might have been a good thing too. We had a couple nicks and bruises that we were able to kind of heal up over the weekend. So hopefully I think we'll be a little bit more excited to get out of town into some better weather in the mid-50s to possible low 60s this weekend in California.
Speaking of California, taking a look ahead to those two games, Notre Dame, Dayton-Murr, and Whittier, what do you know about those opponents?
Yeah, Notre Dame, they typically are scrappy. They play us pretty tough most of the time, especially early in the game. And then I think kind of the depth chart really kind of takes heed against them. They've played, I think, 3 games this season. I think they're 0-3 right now. And so, they always play us tough, and they're always scrappy, and they've got some pretty good players. One kid in particular is an attackman that's pretty solid for them that we need to be aware of. And then Whittier's kind of a dark horse. It's their first game of the year. Haven't been able to really get any film or anything like that on them since they haven't opened up yet. And so those games always make you a little nervous, because you don't really know what to expect, having it be, an opening season game for them. The only positive is that that's a neutral site game, so it's not like a home crowd can really give them additional energy or anything like that. So typically our families travel very well, so I feel like over the course of the weekend we might be able to play in some pretty good weather where, we might actually feel like the home team away for a change. So.
Questions?
Yeah, Coach, after the loss, did you see any difference in the team during practice coming back the following week? Yeah,
I think, again, when you have, I think, 11 seniors this year with 2 additional red-shirted seniors, I think we were embarrassed. And when you get embarrassed and you look at the stat sheet, we got out ground balled by 19 ground balls. We got out faced off by 11. Those are 2 telltale signs of how a game typically goes in the sport of lacrosse. The ball doesn't spend a ton of time on the ground, but when it is on the ground, you want to get it up off the ground. And Lindenwood did more of that than we did. And so that's really a heart and hustle statistic. And as a coach, it's not really difficult to show them on paper that you got outworked when those stats are not in your favor, similar to rebounds in basketball and, things like that. So for us, I think the guys came back a little bit more excited and hungry to play. And again, we had a great week of practice last week, and this week's been a pretty good week. It's obviously still early in the week, but we're closing in on game day with it being 2 practices away. And so I think we're excited to just get that taste out of our mouth. This program's not used to losing games. We've done a really good job of that in the past 3 seasons, in particular, only losing 9 games over that course of time. And so these guys, like I said, they don't necessarily know how to lose really well. And so they're just excited to get back out and get after it. And so I would say that I saw a little bit more attention to detail and excitement to kind of get back on that horse after that defeat 2 weeks ago.
The way that this team played last year, knowing we've basically got to win
Mhm.
every single game to get the playoffs.
Yeah.
You got the playoff spot. Now it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you did it once, but now you got to prove it again.
Yeah, Patty, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly what we told the guys on Monday after we lost that Lindenwood game, was, hey, now it's time to really just get back on track. We've always kind of played better with our backs against the wall, and I think that that's really what you'll see from us as we go forward. Again, we had really great senior leadership last year, and I think that that's been one of the things that has been a little bit, kind of amiss this season thus far is some of those older guys that are outstanding players and outstanding leaders. I mean, Remy Reeves has been a 4-year starter in goal. Jack Griffin's been a 4-year starter. Brandon Wilson's been a 4-year starter. Michael Dash been a 4-year starter. Cole Smith's been a 3-year starter. Not a whole lot of excuses as to leading by example during practices and during games from on the field. And so I think it was a little bit of an identity crisis too. I think we were still trying to figure out who we were. Obviously not having Jack down the back stretch of last season, our offense really kind of came together and said, well, everybody needs to step up. Now you reinsert a tremendous player that Jack is back into the lineup. Guys kind of step back and want to allow him to lead by just playing, and it takes a little bit of time to get guys used to really playing with him again. He didn't participate in the fall, and so for some of the freshmen and some of the sophomores, it's kind of relearning that cycle of what he does and how we can kind of operate off of him. And then we've also just asked Jack to not do so much as well this year, allow some of the other guys to grow and develop and take a little bit more ownership of the dodging to set up shots possibly for him or for his teammates. And so I think, again, it's a little bit of a work in progress right now, and we have enough talent. The talent is not an issue. There's definitely talent there. It's really taking that talent and putting it together and making sure that we're playing together. And, I'll take ownership of the first loss because when I talk about effort and energy and focus, those are all things that a coach should be making making sure your team is prepared to do. And so I also think that at times we didn't necessarily have the right guys in the right spot on the field. And so I think that we'll see a little bit of a different output this upcoming weekend, having 2 weeks of good practice underneath our belt.
After the loss, did you see any of the seniors that kind of just stuck out to you, like, wow, he's really picking the team back up?
Yeah, I think Michael Dash in particular has really been one of those bright spots for us. He's never necessarily been a guy that has led a ton by example other than his play on the field. And, when you lose a Scotty Foster and you lose a Reese Callies and you lose, a Cal Ketchum and a Connor Larrick and an Austin Cromwell, all those seniors from last year, they kind of saw what this program went through to get to where we were. And for some of those guys, they just kind of put their arm around guys and said, hey, man, let's pick it up a little bit. Let's look to do this, do that. And I think that's kind of the role I saw Michael take in the past week and a half is really just, encouraging his teammates to just step up. It was really interesting because one of the comments that was made is that we kind of are missing a little bit of a spark. And this team's always gotten the spark, actually, not from upperclassmen, but from underclassmen. And so we're really waiting for one of those younger guys to just step up and kind of be that spark. And there's a few guys I think have the ability to do that, and hopefully we'll start to see that in the upcoming weeks.